The member for Dunkley.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. During the recent election, I announced with Minister Paul Fletcher the $4 million Dunkley rail plan. As part of this plan, $2 million has been allocated to cost and plan the electrification and duplication of the Frankston to Baxter rail line, which will extend metro rail services to residents across Dunkley. This plan will incorporate Frankston Station, Leawarra Station, a new station for Langwarrin and Frankston South, which will be at or near the old Langwarrin Station site, and Baxter, plus an entire new station at Frankston Hospital. The Leawarra Station will service students of the Monash University Peninsula campus and is anticipated to increase enrolments by more than 20%. This feeds into the continual growth of Frankston as a health hub, with $6 million in funding towards a fully funded MRI licence, which I announced during my recent election campaign, which will benefit not only the 2,000 local patients, but also those residing within the whole Southern Peninsula. At a recent meeting with the Minister for Health, Susan Lee, it was confirmed that full access to this service under Medicare will be active as early as next year. A dedicated Frankston Hospital station will also be investigated and planned. Having a dedicated Frankston Hospital train station will allow greater ease of transportation for patients to access their vital health services and will contribute to resolving the significant parking issues and costs currently experienced at both Frankston train station and the Frankston Hospital, which I regret to say the state government has neglected. A further $2 million has also been allocated to plan a third rail track for an express train service between Frankston and Melbourne CBD, a vital asset that the state Labor government has also neglected to include as part of its SkyRail proposal, with their proposal for SkyRail only looking at 2 tracks instead of 3. The lack of planning in this regard will cost a lot more in the long term, so I am calling upon the state Labor government to actually consider a third track as part of their proposals around level crossing removals. While the SkyRail proposal has some sites with rail trench options, 3 sites in Carrum and Frankston are earmarked for unsightly rail bridges. While all involved agree that level crossings are dangerous and need to go, local councils, residents and businesses are against the proposed plan and are extremely concerned about the negative environmental, social, financial and business impacts this cost will have. This is opposed to the much more aesthetically appealing cut-and-cover model which, while being more slightly expensive, is more viable in the long term because not only from an engineering perspective it is possible, from the perspective of the homeowners in the region, they won't be impacted in terms of their privacy, their potential house prices will increase, and you'll open up the land above the rail line. For example, Frankston resident Julie Freeborn said she would be left viewing a monstrosity and a concrete blob out of her window. Local businessman Max Whitehead also comments stating, authorities should give more consideration to rail under road options at the intersection. These projects I've mentioned in Dunkley will provide crucial connectivity, which is great for jobs, business, tourism, as well as community engagement and preventing social isolation, and it will help create a polycentric city. As a member of the Infrastructure and Regional Development Committee, I am committed to support the connectivity of freight and passenger travel, particularly within Dunkley, and I'm very pleased that the coalition government had the foresight to contribute $4 million towards the Dunkley Rail Plan as part of my campaign. As part of the committee that I'm on, I'm also a big supporter of creating a state of cities, connecting our regional centres both for freight and passenger rail. That's why I have been previously involved heavily in projects like the Murray Basin Rail Project, which not only provides crucial freight upgrades, but also paves the way for passenger rail. And I do believe passenger rail should be considered not only for Dunkley, but for regional centres as well as outer suburban areas in Melbourne and across Victoria, and indeed Australia. Thank you, Mr Speaker.